One of North Alabama's best-known charities, kicking off its brand new speaker series and is bringing a big name to Huntsville. So Thrive Alabama is about to welcome former President George W. Bush to town, and he'll talk about a variety of topics. We have Zane Drost from Thrive Alabama joining us right now to tell us a lot more about that. So, first of all, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Chris.
Always a pleasure. When I think of Thrive Alabama and when I think of what I know you do, providing quality health care to people in need, how does former President George W. Bush connect to that mission and that purpose?
Absolutely, Chris. It's a good question, and we've been answering that a lot lately with staff and people in the community. We sat down and we just started looking at names. Who can we bring to Alabama, to Huntsville in particular, that will have a huge impact? Right. We looked at sports, former coaches of sports teams, and then we landed on former President George W. Bush. There's a little natural connection there. Right. His father actually signed what's called the Ryan White Act.
Right, I remember.
Back in, I guess, the early 90s. And then the act came up for renewal in September of 2006. And former President George W. Bush signed it, reauthorized, and then it was reauthorized in 2009 by President Obama. And then also President George Bush established what's called PEPFAR. Wow. Which is the AIDS in Africa treatment, which recently, I think the last number that I saw has saved about 25 to 26 million lives today. Wow. So there was a little bit of a connection there between our founding as the AIDS Action Coalition and then the Ryan White and the PEPFAR acts that both the presidents have put into act.
And we can't forget, of course, Ryan White was a teenager when he contracted AIDS through a blood transfusion.
Yes.
Back before we knew a lot about AIDS. 18 years old when he died.
Yep.
And of course, President Bush, H.W. Bush, was the president when he died, and very, very powerful to put that act in place.
Absolutely.
To give care to people. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a very nice
and
tie-in.
we receive funding from that act today to treat patients.
When we're talking about a former president, we're talking also about a lot of security protocols that have to be in place. So
yes.
What are some of the things people need to know about before they rush out and buy a ticket to this event?
Absolutely. So some of the protocols we need to be concerned about, it's almost like going to a sporting event. Small purses, clutches, if it's anything bigger than 12 by 12, it has to be in a clear bag. And each attendee will have to pass through a metal detector. And we have to have, if you do buy a ticket, the name on the ticket has to match your government issue ID.
Right.
If there's a little bit of discrepancy, it may hold up you getting into the event. And then, of course, you will be issued a name badge that has to be worn at all times.
What about your speaker series itself? This is the first?
This will be our inaugural speaker series. It's something that we're looking at doing every other year. Mm-hmm. So we're not sure who the next one is. Once we get past next Tuesday, we'll take a look at that and see who do we bring back for our next one coming up and be, I guess, 2027. So it'll be an every other year event for us.
You and I both know anytime you bring a former president to an event,
there's
a lot of work to be done because there's a lot of security and a lot of protective measures to be taken.
Yes.
But always a very important thing to do because they draw such a great audience and usually have so much to say that benefits what you do.
And it's going to be, it's going to be a great event. It's a fireside chat. So we have submitted a little over 20 questions that President Bush will get to answer from his time in office to, I think one of the questions, if he could have somebody over to his ranch, 3 historical figures, who would they be and what would you serve?
That'd be interesting.
So it's just going to be a great time to come out and hear from a former president on his take on what his life was in office and after office.
I want to remind folks this is happening next week, February 11th. Tickets still available?
Tickets are still available. Go to thrivealabama.org. There's a link on our website, and I believe Way TV is going to have a link on their site as well to purchase tickets.
We will get that up for you. Zane, thank you as always for being with us. Good luck with this event. Look forward to having you back to tell us what happened.
I appreciate it, Chris, and thank you so much for your support.
And we'll be right back.